I want you to be great. As a parent, a mentor, a coach, and a friend, I want to do all in my power to help you. So, although you didn't ask for my advice, I'm going to give it to you anyway. So, here's life lesson number one. The next time someone asks you, why didn't you, and then insert the request here, whatever it is, and you say, I forgot. Right there at that moment, I want to encourage you to ask yourself why. I forgot is a valid answer. I know many people won't say that. I will. I forgot is a valid answer. But if you use it once, maybe even twice, that's fine. But if it's your go to response, it's an excuse. Now, I'm going to make an assumption here that you truly intended to do the thing which you were asked. So now clock it. I didn't say that you wanted to do it because you may not have wanted to do that, but you definitely intended to. So we're going to roll with that scenario. And given that you intended to do it, why didn't you? So I want you to lock in here. We're in that scenario, and the way I see it, there are only two reasons why you are in this predicament. One, you didn't prioritize it. That means you didn't think it was important enough to keep top of mind or follow up on it. Two, you didn't prepare for it. That means you probably didn't set up systems, ask questions, or create a method of accountability. At some point between being asked and that person where that time when that person asked, did you do it? One of those two things happened. Either way, the result is the same. You didn't show up in the way that they needed you to. Now, look, I get it. Life is, can be, will continue to be overwhelming at times. But at some point, between being asked and the deadline, what you communicated to that person is that it wasn't important enough to write down, set a reminder, ask for help, or follow up. And here's why that matters. Let's think about it on the reverse, right? Let's think about what that means on the other end. When someone does not show up and follow through in the way that you expected them, how does that make you feel? Exactly. You're probably a little cautious. The ability for you to trust and depend on them may be a bit questionable. You may even hesitate to ask them to show up for you again. So the next time someone you care about and cares about you asks you to do something, here's what you do. I want you to just pause for 2 quick seconds. And ask yourself 2 questions. One, how will I prioritize this? And two, how can I prepare for it? By doing this, you accomplish 2 things. First, you show that you care about the person and their request. And second, you put it in its proper place, if you will, with the necessary safeguards to ensure that it gets done. Here's what I mean by safeguards. If you don't know how to do it, maybe that's what is revealed to you. A safeguard can be that you ask questions. That's a form of prioritization. If you're overwhelmed or unclear about the ask, it's your time to communicate that. That's preparation. All right, so let's talk a little bit about the prioritization piece a little bit more. What does it actually mean to prioritize something when someone asks you to do it? Prioritizing doesn't mean it becomes the most important thing in your life. I think that's a misconception. It doesn't have to be the most important thing in your life. It means you've decided where it fits in relation to everything else that you have going on. I think also a misconception or a thing that people get wrong about prioritization is that they think that prioritization is about saying yes to everything. And that's also not true. Prioritizing is about being honest with yourself about what you can realistically commit to. So when someone asks you to do something, here's the process. First, you assess what's already on the plate. What do you already have going on? And like really assess it, not just the big stuff like school or practice. I'm talking about like homework due on Tuesday, the project due on Friday, the thing your mom asked you to do that you didn't quite get to yet, and that was yesterday. All of it, right? All of the things that you have on your plate. Second, decide if this new request, this thing that you're now trying to figure out, can it fit? And if it can, where does it rank in all the stuff that you have on the plate? Is it urgent? Is it important to the person asking? Do you care that it's important to the person asking? Is it important to you? Does it have a hard deadline or is it flexible? And then the third thing, and this is key, communicate your decision. You can do it. You can tell them when, as opposed to I'll get to it, right? Or you can say, I can have this done by Thursday. And if you can't do it or can't do it by when they need it, you say that I can't get this done until next week. Does that work? Or I have too much going on right now. Can we revisit this? Or can you ask someone else to do it? Now, I know what some of you are thinking, like, Miss Kara, that might not work. That might work with like a friend, a teacher, or my boss, but I can't say that to my mom or my dad, right? My parents, I can't say that to. They'll think I'm being disrespectful or talking back. And I hear you. I hear you. I'm a mom. I am a mom, so I get it. Here's where tone and timing matter. There's a difference between advocating for yourself and being dismissive. Okay? If your parent asks you to do something, I can't, I'm busy, sounds pretty disrespectful. It sounds like an excuse. But I can do that right after I finish my homework. I'll do that at 7. Does that work? Or, yes, ma'am, I absolutely can do that. Would you be okay if I got it done at this time? That's a whole different tone. That's a whole different approach because you're not saying no, but you're giving them a realistic timeline. And look, some parents aren't used to this kind of communication from their kids. They're used to, yes, ma'am, end of discussion, and you just have to figure it out. And if that's your household, you might need to ease into this and start small. Like, mom, I want to make sure I do this right. When do you need this done by? That's fair. I wouldn't say that that's full pushback. That might be, you getting clarity. The goal here is to make sure you're communicating in a way that it isn't seen as negotiating your way out of responsibility, right? The goal is to show that you're taking it seriously enough to think it through. Does that make sense? Okay. Now, when you don't prioritize or say yes without, or you say yes without thinking, right? You end up taking on the request without knowing where it fits on your plate. Okay. And then when the deadline comes and you haven't done it and you say, I forgot, right? You didn't really forget. What happened is that you never gave it a priority level, like in the first place. So you were like doomed to fail, right? So prioritizing is also about asking questions. If someone asks you to do something and you're not sure like how long it will take or how important it is or when they need it by, all of that is important to figure out in that pause. And it's not being difficult, it's being responsible because you can't prioritize if you don't understand what the ask is. Okay. Now, when you do all of that, it shows respect to those that are asking you to do that thing. And when you take the time to figure out where someone's request fits in your life, and you communicate to them, you're telling them, I heard you, I'm taking this seriously, and I'm being realistic about what I can deliver and how I can show up. So the next time someone asks you to do something, right? Don't just nod and say, okay. Stop, assess, and decide and communicate. That is how you prioritize. Now, how do you prepare? I want to remember there was two things, prioritizing and preparation, right? So I want to talk a little bit about how to prepare. Because even if you prioritize something, if you don't prepare for it, you are still liable to drop the ball. And we don't want that to happen either. Preparation is about setting yourself up for success. It's about creating the conditions and the environment that make it more likely that you will follow through. So, what does that look like? What does that actually look like? That might look like writing it down. I don't care. And when I say write, I use the term write loosely. I don't care if it's in your phone, on a sticky note, in a planner, write it down. Your brain is it like it's a filing cabinet, but not really. It has a limit as to all the things that it can hold at any given time, right? So it's not designed to hold on to everything that someone gives you, like every task. It's not designed to do that. So the moment you think, I'll remember this, you've already set yourself up to forget. Trust me, I know, I know. So just write it down. The second thing I'll say, suggest, is set a reminder. And not just one reminder for the deadline, like set a reminder for your reminder, right? Set a reminder for when you're actually going to do the thing and a little bit before. If something's due Friday, set a reminder for Wednesday that says, work on this for Friday. Because if the only reminder you have is the day it's due, you're going to run out of time. Okay. Third is I think people overlook this a lot, is break it down. If some, all right, like when I ask my boys to clean the room, right? When I say clean your room, it's not just the one task. It's make the bed, it's pick up the clothes, it's vacuum, it's organize your desk. So when I say, like, break it down, break it up into steps, because the clean your room might feel overwhelming, but pick up your clothes feels doable. So do it that way. The next thing and the last thing I'd say here is create accountability, right? Tell someone you're going to do it. Check in with that person who asked you. Ask a friend to remind you if you need to. Put it somewhere visible. The more people who know you said you're going to do something, the more likely you are actually going to do it, right? Because you're going to, not doing it means letting down a number of people. So you kind of increase the I want to say burden of it, but the weight of it, right? Sometimes preparation also in that scenario means asking for help. So if you don't know how to do something, preparation isn't figuring it out alone. It's asking someone to show you if you don't have the tools or the resources you need to do it, right? Preparation involves kind of asking someone else, and that's a part of accountability as well. Sometimes preparation means communicating barriers. Now, a word of caution here. How you communicate a barrier matters, especially with parents and authority figures, because I can't do this sounds a lot like you're giving up or you're dismissing, right? But I'm trying to figure out how to get this done is different, right? I'm trying to figure out how to get this done because I'm stuck on this part, even better, right? Can you help me? Again, asking for help, that hits different. So one sounds like excuses, the other sounds like problem solving. And that's like a key that we want, right? That's a skill we want to develop. Timing matters too, so don't wait until the deadline has passed to tell someone you couldn't do it. Like if you realize on Tuesday that you're not going to be able to finish something that's due on Friday, say something on Tuesday, not Friday night. I got in trouble as a kid by waiting to do a project that I had all winter break to do that I was procrastinating on that I did like the day before. Anyway, some of you have parents that are going to push back no matter what, who are going to say, I don't want to hear excuses, just get it done. I totally get that. And in those moments, you might not be able to have the full conversation you need. Like when I delayed that project, my mom was super mad. I couldn't have that conversation at that time. But you can still prepare on your end. You can still write it down. You can still set reminders. You can break it into steps. You can still advocate for yourself in the ways that you have control over. And when you don't have the space to communicate, here's what that looks like. If you agree to do something, but then realize that you're in over your head, preparation is going back to that person and saying, hey, I thought I had it. I don't. I'm struggling with this. Can we adjust the timeline? Or I need help with that particular part, right? That's not failing to prepare, that is preparing. You're preparing them for a different outcome before it's too late. We call it managing expectations, right? As in the adulting world. See, most people think preparation is just about doing the thing, but preparation starts way before that. It's about setting up systems, so you don't have to rely on memory or motivation. It's about being honest when you don't know something. It's about communicating when things change. All of that is part of preparation or managing expectations. Because here's what I want you to understand: when you don't prepare, you're not just letting yourself down, you're putting the person who asked you in a position where they can't depend on you. Okay. And over time, right? Over time, if they keep feeling that way, that changes how they see you, right? Preparation says, I respect you enough to take this seriously. It says, I care about the outcome, not just my intention to do the thing. So the next time you commit to something, right, don't just say yes, pause for 2 seconds. And I hope you remember to write it down, set reminders, break it into steps, and ask for help if you need it. Communicate if something goes left or something happens in the way that you maybe didn't expect. That's how you prepare, because I want them to see you as someone who can be trusted and depended upon. Because here's the truth: when you combine that sort of selflessness, that selfless activity with time management, you manage their expectations, and you also manage your own expectations. Look, I don't lose anything by sharing this advice with you today. I absolutely don't. But you absolutely could lose something by not taking it, because just like opportunity doesn't come to those who sit around and wait, I'm sure you've heard that saying. Just like opportunity doesn't come around to those who sit around and wait, success doesn't come to those who will not accept responsibility for its result. Okay? Accepting responsibility means caring about the outcome enough that you make reasonable and feasible plans for you to accomplish it. So that's what I have for you today. I hope it was valuable, real talk. And remember, um, well, maybe you haven't heard me say this, or maybe you have, because my mom used to say it all the time to me. Good, better, best. Never let it rest until your good is your better and your better is your best. Keep growing with me and have an amazing day, family. Peace out.